Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to break down our 1 Minute Bullish Pivot Pro. This is our premier indicator, really built for low float momentum type of stocks. Looking for this indicator will spot those lows, those dip buys. It will also spot the momentum continuation plays, and it has a lot built into it. So I want to go over the new features that we have available. So looking at this chart, this is a 1 minute chart on AMOD. We do have a number of indicators up and available, but we're going to go over really just the 1 Minute Bullish Pivot Pro. So for now, I'll shut these other indicators off so it makes it easier to see. This is the Trend IQ. I'm going to shut that off now. And the 1 Minute Bullish Pivot Pro, what it's doing is you're going to see that it's plotting these candles in different colors based on the trend. It's going to give you a little description in the top right up here. The trend, is it a short trend, long trend, or is it a basically is it bearish or bullish, right? The strategy, same thing. Is it bullish or bearish, right? And in this instance, for the current price right now, which we'll zoom out in a minute, but strategy is showing bullish while the trend is showing short. And I'll go over exactly what that means in a minute. So AMOD, this was the incredible move that we had the other day. If you measure out this move using the measuring tool here in TradingView, measure this out, we're looking at 210%, right? And this is a matter of minutes. This is a 1 minute chart. So each one of these candles that you see here is representing 1 minute of price action. So can you imagine in just a matter of minutes here, let's measure this again. Well, it should tell us what that was. 57 bars. So less than an hour, right? Less than 60 minutes here on AMOD, moved up 121% or 200% at the top of this move. That's beautiful, right? So now the best thing for us to do is analyze the chart and see how could we trade this type of stock? How can we break this down, mitigate risk, and make sure that we're not getting into trouble, as these are low float stocks, right? They have very little number of shares available for trading, which means the price can fluctuate very quickly. That means the price can go up and down very quickly. So what we need to do as day traders, in my experience, is to really mitigate the risk and make sure that we're focused on not giving back profit, make sure that we're securing profit on the way up. And for me, I like to hold the lotto. We'll break down the whole setup and the whole strategy in this video. AMOD, looking left, one indicator on this chart. I'll shut off the volume down below. However, we can see, yes, we do have volume paired, which is something that I do want to verify, and that indicator will do that. But looking at the 1 Minute Bullish Pivot Pro only, what you can see, if I turn this off, you'll see there's some changes, right? And you can see the changes that are made. These candles are now this basically a highlighted green, and it has that red outline. That's one of the new features that we have, is this right here, is when you see these green candles, what that's telling you is that the trend, which is, or the strategy here, is showing bullish momentum, which is great. This is what we're looking for. So if I'm looking to trade this on the long side, I want to be paired with these green candles. So anytime I'm looking to trade something long or quick scalp to the high side, or trade it for the long side, whatever you want to call it, I'm looking for this green bullish momentum. To keep it really simple, this indicator is color coding those candles for us. Now, one thing that we put into this, a new feature, is we outline the candles that are red. So even though this is a green trend and we have a red candle pullback, if I click on this, you'll see this was a red candle. Well, it's still showing green. The reason for it is it's still a bullish trend, or still a bullish strategy, until we see this red candle, which we did right here. So I want to make sure that for our traders, it makes it really easy for us to identify, yes, it's a green trend, yes, it's bullish momentum, but is this a green candle or red candle? We can see with the red outline that this is now a red candle. You can see that red outline there. If you can see that, you should be able to see it, and you can adjust it in the settings to see it a little bit easier. You can change the colors, whatever you prefer. Now, when we see this, these red candles, that's showing us bearish momentum. So if I'm a short seller and I'm looking to, scalp it down to the low side, or basically take a trade here and looking for it to continue further down to get my profit, that's a short seller. Then I'm looking for this bearish momentum, and it's really easy to depict that by looking at these red candles showing us that bearish momentum pulling back, right? But again, want to make sure that we are notifying which candle is what. And yes, this is a red candle and a red candle pullback and red bearish strategy here. However, this one here, even though it's a bearish strategy, it's still showing a green candle. We can tell because it has that green outline around the candle, if you can see that there. So green outline. Now, again, zooming back out here, what we're seeing is the price action as soon as this spikes up, right? These candles on the left-hand side, they have no volume. If you hover over each candle, you can see at the top here, the volume. This one has 250 shares. This one has 2.9 thousand shares, so a little bit more. 500 shares, right? 200 shares. So this was not very liquid here. There wasn't a lot of volume to be trading here. So for me, I'm typically not trading something until we get that volume. We can see this giant candle here was then paired with, of course, volume. If I hover over, 99,000 shares was traded on this 1 minute candle. So in 1 minute time on the chart here, we had over or just about 100,000 shares traded on this 1 minute candle. Now, that's basically telling me that we do have strength, we have volume, we have liquidity. So I can get in and out with a larger size and feel a little bit more confident that I should get filled on my order and get filled both on the entry as well as on the exit, because of course sometimes it's tough to get filled if you're trading with this lower volume. So yes, we have volume, great. So we're all looking at it around here. This is probably the first time it's alerting on many scanners out there in the world and on our scanners as well, and so notifying us, okay, now we need to we know that there's value here, we know that there's something going on here. Now we need to know how to trade it. So we have two different things here. We've got this pivot zone that's being plotted here after this red candle pullback. We love to see that. So after the initial move, it's going to give us this pivot zone, and that's beautiful because what that does is give us an area of value. So if the price then gaps back above that area of value, we then look at it to hold as then support. So right now, when we see the first pivot zone plotted, you'll see this will act as resistance. However, if we close above, which we did on this candle, you can see this candle is green, closed above. It closed above this pivot zone. That is a bullish signal, a bullish candle there. We then look at that as bullish momentum and look at the same pivot zone that was acting as resistance to now hold as support. It then held, pulled back here, gave that entry off of support, and then held and continued up farther, right? And that's a really nice entry on a 1 minute chart. So breaking this down again, green candles, that's bullish momentum, and red candles, that's bearish momentum. If I'm looking to trade to the long side, which is high side here, if I'm looking to get in here and have it go higher, then I'm looking to trade on the long side. I'm looking for green candles, that's bullish momentum. That's easily identified here just using that indicator. So if I didn't have the indicator, yes, you can still see a nice setup here, but just having the indicator makes it so much easier for me. I see this green candle exploding up. I see a pivot zone. I know exactly where I want to get in. I know exactly where to get out. If we start pulling back under the pivot zone, I get back out of my trade to mitigate risk. And that's the whole idea behind this. This strategy and this strategy here, which is many strategies built into this code, this one strategy here is looking for continuation and momentum. So if we plot a pivot zone, that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing because it gives us that area of value. If we close over that area of value, we then look at it to then hold as support. So previous resistance can then act as support. Hold support gives us a nice entry. You wouldn't get a better entry than that, of course, unless you bought down here, which is our other strategy that we've implemented into this code. We've had the flow zone for a while, but we've updated this. Now this trend zone here is very similar to like an EMA crossover and EMA waves, right? What we're looking for this to do is hold this trend zone. So when the trend is bullish, right? If we see this trend up here is bullish, right now it's short. If the trend was bullish, this would be showing as long, or it would be saying long, right? Instead of it showing as short right now. The reason it's showing short is because, again, if I zoom out, you'll see that the price action's all the way to the right-hand side over there, and that's going to be a little bit different. So if I zoom in on the area of value that we're going over here, which again is the massive move that we had on the scanners. So first hit the scanners, explodes up over 200% at the top of this move. So we want to make sure, you know, how do I trade this? How do I find an entry? How do I hold my profit for longer? You know, stuff like that, right? So it's quite easy with this indicator. You can see that we closed above, held the area, pulled back, and then continued to gap up here. Now, this flow zone or trend zone is also doing something a little bit different, right? It's the same idea, right? We want to close above, we want to hold and stay above that zone, and we can see that we did just over here. We closed above the zone, came back, pulled back, tested the zone right in here, pulled back a little bit more. We did not turn bearish on this zone. We did not go short here. This was still a long opportunity and a nice dip buy or dip entry for traders who are getting in. And if you're getting on this candle, right, or one of these candles here, that's a simple 8% in a single minute candle, right? If you got it in this candle's close, which was down around here, and you sold on this candle's open, or excuse me, this candle's close, the next candle, which is just 1 minute, you're looking at like 8-10% in a single minute's candle. That's amazing, right? But it's not done yet. It continued. So of course that's a nice huge win in a very quick amount of time. However, you can get yourself a lot stronger type of trend trade by holding it or holding some of your shares there. So for me, guys, personally, what I like to do is if I get in here, I'm selling in a profit. So oftentimes I have the key level spotter on as well, which is going to identify key levels where it becomes extended and maybe I want to lock in some of my profit. I like to take profit quick. For me personally, I like to quick scalp a lot of these trades. They are very highly consistent for me. And so I like to quickly scalp them, lock in the profit, then hold a lotto or a small portion of my profits in case it continues to run or continues to gap up, right? And in this instance, it did continue to gap up. We continued to gap up here. We can see we have these green candles, and showing those green candles, that's one of many strategies built into this, letting us know, hey, this is bullish momentum. We are above this trend zone. That is another bullish signal. So what we're doing is we're basically stacking bullish signals to give us conviction behind our trades. And that allows me to really mitigate the risk and adjust the size. So sometimes when I see multiple green flags or positive signals, well, sometimes I can size up my order, and then and the opposite effect is true as well. So if I start to see too many red flags, I can maybe mitigate and adjust the size and kind of pull back a little bit, maybe take a lotto size or whatever it may be. So in this instance, guys, it's pretty simple, and I think everyone can follow along here. We want to see this stay blue, right? This blue trend here, right below the price. Even when we pull back, that's okay. Pullbacks are fine, right? It offers entries for a lot of traders who maybe missed out on the initial trades. And that's the point of our indicators, is that you're not going to miss out. There's going to be opportunities both on the long side, maybe on the short side if that's what you're looking for, but you're also going to look for those bounce opportunities. You're going to look for those dip buys, right? This indicator has so many strategies built into it that it's basically our Swiss Army knife, and that's why I love it, and I use it every day live trading. But to get back to the strategy here, we are gapping up. We can see that we closed above here, so that's a nice entry. If you missed that entry, that's okay. A pullback into this area or this trend zone can be a nice entry as well. Again, same thing. Our stop loss would be just below. So if we're entering into this area that's starting to lock in here, and I'll zoom in just to make it easier to see. If we're entering into this area, let me draw a box around this. So see, these are dipping into this. Maybe we're entering into this area and we want to get ourselves a nice little pickup in here, right? Okay, if we're doing that, we are keeping our stop loss tight. So if we're dipping in here, getting ourselves our entry, right, we're maybe in here around, let's see, 262. Maybe our stop loss is going to be down here about a 4% stop loss. Now, of course, we can't plan on a candle that just rips down on us really quickly, right? If that happens, then it happens. It's not something that we can stop. The only thing we can do is mitigate the risk, stick to our plan. So if it does pull back, for me, once it passes this line or this threshold, that's it. Typically, I'm exiting my position. So if we start to see that this is coming too far below the trend zone, well, for me, guys, that's typically where I'm stopping out, just to protect profit or to make sure that I'm not giving back too much of my trade. So as we pull back here, we had another entry back into the area. And, these are offering nice scalps too. So if you're buying in this area and you're selling at the top of this candle, again, 10%, right? It's 10%. If you're getting 10%, and this is showing a lot of volume, I have 330,000 on this candle, 110,000 on this candle, 272,000, right? So a lot of liquidity, a lot of volume. There's probably news or something that's really boiling up here and making this price action occur. But, what's most important for me as a day trader is not necessarily the news. It's the effect the news has, or not necessarily if it has news or not. Basically, does it have volume? Does it have that breakout strength? Does it have these candles formations that I'm looking for? And we can see that AMOD definitely had exactly what we're looking for. Continued up higher. Okay. Missed out. A lot of traders say, oh man, I missed out on this. I didn't buy it here. I was just kind of holding off, and I kind of was just, just sitting back and seeing if it would do anything. Well, all of a sudden we get another pivot zone. Here's your close over. It's, it's a little scary, right? Because it looks like it halted here in this area, and it most likely did. But again, if you're buying in on this, if you're seeing that's closing above and you buy in, you're up 20% on the next candle. Within minutes, you're up 20%, over $1 per share. These are quick trades. Lock in profit, hold your lotto or runner in case you feel there's continuation, or just shut it down, right? A lot of times what I do is I shut it down. That's one way I know how to not give the market a chance to get my profit back. Once I get that profit, I retain it. I shut it down. I walk away. I spend time with the family, and guess what? Life is good, right? Come back to trade the next day, build yourself a cushion each day. That way you have that cushion to build up with, and it kind of reduces some of that stress that comes with trading at times. Now, As we pull back, if you missed out on this one or you weren't comfortable taking here, there's another dip buy into our trend zone. Well, at this point, guys, we're seeing these red candles start to form here. Once we see those red candles, again, short sellers can take advantage. Here's our first red candle. If you were to buy in there, short down to this area, again, 9%, right? It's like an average of 8-9%, which is not always the case. I do not want to sit here and say that's always the case, but you can see on AMOD the whole morning, this is the pre-market in the gray area, and this is the market open in this dark area here. You can see that it's really simplistic, right? And that's why we want to keep it simplistic. We've got these red candles showing that bearish momentum. We've got green candles, bullish momentum. If we see both strategies are pointing towards the bullish side, well, that's, a couple green flags that add to our conviction, and vice versa. Right here, this is a very really nice short opportunity, I would say. Right here, we have a pivot zone, and then we have our red candles, and we start to fail and break down of this this trend zone as well. So that's showing you that this is starting to struggle here, and it's really giving a nice area of value for a short seller. So if you're a short seller, you can look at an entry below this pivot zone and then start to close a position if it comes above. So basically cover your position or stop out, right? If we start to come above that pivot zone, that's where we have to be careful as short sellers, because that's going to be our stop area. So these pivot zones, what they're doing, guys, is really helping us mitigate risk. Building in a strategy right into the code. It's really simple. All we have to do is follow it. Green is going to be bullish. Red is bearish. As we pull back, we can see that we've got this bearish trend all of a sudden starting to poke in a little bit, and all of a sudden over here we got ourselves a nice long trend. So some of those are working out nicely. Over here we got a pivot zone, a nice little pop here. Did not hold. You can see this candle over here then failed that level. Once we come below this this line here, this area, that's it. That's all she wrote. It's bearish no matter what we think. So for me, again, it helps mitigate risk, because what I'm thinking is if we come below this zone anywhere in this area, I'm stopping out. It doesn't matter what I think. I'm sticking to the plan. So this is my stop out area. This is my take profit area, right? We're over here taking typically 8-9% per trade. This one's about 7-8%. So taking it in the profit, locking it in, holding in case it gets back up to those recent highs. But of course, we know that it has this pivot zone and will struggle. This one then continued to gap back down. Now, what you're seeing over here on the right hand side is you're going to see. Let me actually do something like this. Let's do it a little bit different. Let's do it like this. I'll do a little rewind and replay here. I'll make it a little bit easier to see some of these new signals. So let me go ahead and hit the replay at the top. We'll go to right here. This is where AMOD basically kicked off, right, and started its move. So I'll go ahead and hit play in just a second. I'll speed this up, and I'll keep it a little bit slow so we can see it. All right. There's our first candle that would alert. Okay, it's a pulling back. All right, this is a 1 minute chart. There's your entry. All right, we're back in. So you can see this, and this is a sped up version. This would be a lot slower, as you guys know. These are 1 minute candles, so we can expect 60 seconds per candle. You can see that. There's our zone. Okay, pull back into the area. There's your dip buy. There's a buy there as well. Okay, zone. There's your short sell. Okay, short sell. Get yourself a nice little win. You can see the trends are starting to bounce back and forth. L for long trend, S for short trend. But you can see that up on the label up top as well. So this table is actually going to show you that identification, whether it's a short trend or a long trend, or if it's a bearish strategy or a bullish strategy. What I like to do, guys, I like to pair both of those. So what I like to trade a little bit more aggressive if I see both of those are in line. So if they're both green, they're both showing that bullish momentum, that long type of trade, then that's great. That's what I want to see. It adds to my conviction. At this point, we're kind of tapering off here. We're looking for a signal. We've got the L over here. Here's your S. So that's a short signal, faded off. There's your L. Okay, it's holding up. Short, long, we're starting to chop a little bit. And this gives an opportunity for those traders who are trading throughout the day. Myself, typically, I like to shut it down by around 10 or 11 a.m. Eastern time. But some traders will be trading throughout the day. If you are, this is going to give you those opportunities for those quick scalps. For instance, right here, you can see this one gave a small scalp. They're not all going to be winners either. But again, what the plan is here is to help mitigate risk. So we can see that once we get that trend signal, our area of value is going to be this blue trend zone. We want to stay above it. If we start to gap below it or come back below, well, that's where typically I would stop out. And so that we're looking to hold those type of levels. If I zoom out here, getting a small win, same idea, needs to hold 394, giving a small pop, right? Some traders are taking advantage of that. Myself, I typically will stay out of that. I like bullish momentum a little bit more than I care for that. Now, and this is how it's going to be throughout the day, guys. So you're going to get these signals. You're going to see those green candles, those red candles. Red candles as bearish momentum. You see right there, all of a sudden we're pulling back. You see that short signal. And this is interesting. Let me hit stop here. This short signal came on this candle, even though it was green. So that's again showing you that the signal was then, or the trend was then short, even though the strategy was still long. So even though the candle was still above this zone or this area of resistance around 402, it was pulling back and showing some weakness there. And you can see this nasty candle followed by that soon after. Now, for me, guys, again, what I'm doing is typically watching multiple charts. So the 1 minute chart, excuse me, and the 10-second chart are typically what I'm watching. What I like to see is I like to enter on a 10-second pivot or a 10-second move. And then once I see that 10-second move, I'm good to go. So on AMOD, if I zoom back out to find the initial move that we're analyzing here, which would be over here. If I take a 10-second chart and zoom in on this, and just bear with me, I know this is a little wonky. You can see right here, all right, we started getting the volume down below. That's our histogram, okay? So we started getting volume. We can see that the trend is showing a long trend here, okay? This is that blue long trend. And all of a sudden we started to pull back. So if we start to put this in real time, if I took the replay here and I put it right over here, if we replay this, guys, and we watch this real quick, and it will be sped up, so I'll just let it run. What we can see here is right now it's above. So it's alerting. It's letting us know there's some value. If you're a quick trader trading off the scanners, it's giving you an area of value, this blue zone for that risk mitigation, right? There's your signal that it's now short. So if you missed out on these 10-second candles, that's okay. Most of us did, looking for the next leg up, and that's if it's going to give it to us. So if we're looking for a good trade, good stock, it should give us multiple entries. And let's see what it does. Ready? There it is. There's our long trade, okay? So it's showing us a long signal. Now we're looking for a pivot zone, and we're looking for this, and there it is. You can see right there now we're bullish on both setups. And I'll hit play. We're starting to fade off here a little bit. Now we're starting to come back down. Let's hit play. I want to get back above. This is great because what it's doing is it's giving you two setups. It's giving you the setup of the trend zone. It's also giving you the setup of the 278 right there, if you can see that. I've got the label a little small, but 278 is that label. Hit play. And there you go. Once we get above that, yes, it's got the BVT, the bullish vertical trend. So yes, it's higher risk. However, that is my entry. So that would be my entry. Okay, I'd stop out right there. I'd be right back out unless I'm using the trend zone. So the thing is, if this is my entry, right, if I'm getting in over the resistance here, then that's my entry. That's going to be where my stop is. If I'm using the trend zone for my entry, that's where my stop is going to be. So it really depends on which strategy I'm trading at the time. But they're both built into this indicator, so you can use either one or both. So now we're looking for it to get back above. Okay, if I were to enter there, my stop would be right above, or excuse me, right below this level. Hit play. We want to hold up. All right, we're looking for an explosion in price action here, and where I'd be taking profit very quickly because these are 10-second charts. And you can see the flow zone, and look at that. Now it's pulling back, so of course that's where I'd stop out and wait for my entry again. There we go. Now we're back in. Okay, we got our green candle. That's a signal right there. You can see that signal, bullish signal detected. Then we got our long signal. Okay, we're back into the position. We're holding. And sometimes it's going to chop up. Again, this is a 10-second chart, guys, so really, what do you expect? Sometimes you should expect that type of choppy price action. But that being said, it's allowing us to mitigate risk, allowing us to get in and out very quickly and mitigate the risk by having areas of value to then stop out in case it starts to pull back. And you can see, look at this move, just a strong move continuing up. Now 384 is the key level. There it is over the level. Boom, boom, boom. Hit new highs. There we go. We're stopped out. Okay, we're out of the position. We need to get back above that resistance. We did not. So short sellers are now in the position and covering if we start to get above. Long traders are looking for it to get above this level, taking profit into these pivot zones. Typically, I'm looking at the 1-minute chart and the 10-second chart. I like to use the confirmation, support, and resistance on another chart as well to keep this one a little bit cleaner. I use it on a separate chart where I can reference the key levels because I want to see that. For me, I like to use on the 1-minute chart, guys, I like to use the in conjunction with the key level spotter, which is going to give you these quick levels, right? So quick, easy levels to follow. So if we start to dip, this is an area of value for that dip buy. And if we start to pop here, I might take profit into these zones at times as well. And the trend IQ, of course, the trend IQ is great because what it's doing is going to identify the type of trade that we're looking at. So this one is listed as a quick trade or lotto trade. So that means it's higher risk. That means I want to be careful. And the reason for it, we've got resistance all the way through $6 and current price is $2.69. So that means I expect choppy price action all the way through. And seeing this trade type right here is very important for me. It allows me to then mitigate risk and basically say, you know what, if I'm going to trade this stock, I think I'll trade a smaller size until we get back above recent resistance. So that's pretty much the breakdown, guys. Quick breakdown there. Another thing that you can do, you can set alerts where you can find these pivots in case they start to pivot over a zone. You can do that. You can find the alerts just by going to the alerts up top and create the alert. Go to the 1 Minute Bullish Pivot Pro, and then you can choose which alert that you want to be signaled here. So whatever alert you want, you can have that signaled. Also, what you can do is if you go to the settings, if you double click on the indicator itself, you can go all the way down to, let's see, the bottom area here. And you can change this from quick trend to long trend or longer trend. So it really depends on you, and that's going to be for this zone. So if you prefer that zone to be a longer trend where you want to stay in your trades a little bit longer, and instead of having those quicker trades, you can do that just by changing that to longer trend. And it should be adjusting. Maybe it already did. Let me do the quick trend again. Yeah, you can see it adjusting there. So you can adjust this, guys, and it will adjust the results that you get as well for that trend and for these trend type of trades. So if you're looking to do that, myself, I like to have it on quick trend, but there's times where I do it. I have other charts that are going to be longer trend as well. So I'm experimenting with both. But right now I'm kind of leaning towards quick trend. I like to get in and out pretty quick, but some traders like to have their position a little bit longer. But a lot of options in this this indicator, guys. You can come in here. You can change a lot of different settings. I have mine set to the pivot period 5 and 5. That's what I like personally. I don't have any volume requirement for those pivots. Sometimes I do adjust that. I play around with it, but typically I keep it at 0, and I'll kind of just let my eyes figure it out. I can adjust the size of the labels. You can adjust the colors. There's a lot of options in here. You can change where you have this this trend table if you prefer. You want to have it to the maybe the top center up the top right here. You can do that. So I'll hit OK. And then there it's at the top of your chart as well. So that's going to be our 1 Minute Bullish Pivot Pro, guys. If you want access to this indicator, you can find it at bullishboblive.com. All of our indicators are available in our indicator toolkit, and I will be breaking down each one of these indicators every day live in voice from 7 a.m. to roughly around 9:30 to 10 a.m. Depends on when I shut it down myself or when I'm done trading. But for me, guys, live trading Monday through Friday. Please, if you want to learn and join into our educational Discord, feel free. Check out bullishboblive.com, and I'll see you in the chats. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video, or I'll see you in our Discord. Thanks, guys.